Shelley and Claire, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have a second microphone? Microphone is very scary. All right. Oh, hello. All right, Shelley and Claire, mother-daughter team. Okay, so we've got we have Marge's wonderful story about her life with Jim and the beginnings of GLHF, and you both have personal experience with the organization.
Absolutely.
And mother and daughter, so quite a few stories to share. I think generationally.
Absolutely. When I grew up, I was undiagnosed, as we didn't know how severe our von Willebrand's was.
Can you talk just for a second? Some folks might not know what von Willebrand's is. Can you share a little bit about that?
Von Willebrand's disease is a bleeding disorder similar to hemophilia, where our blood just takes longer to clot than normal. And common misconception is that we'll die from a paper cut. We won't unless it's a really big piece of paper.
Very few of those exist now.
Yes.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So being undiagnosed, we knew we would bruise easily and bleed a lot. And as a little kid, I wondered, I found out years later that none of my cousins had a bleeding disorder, and I was wondering why they never bled, or maybe they bled at home and they didn't tell us. But I remember till the day I died, my mother saying, "Stay in the shade, stay in the shade," because during the summer, whoever had a bloody nose that night, she had to stay up with that person. So when I had my son, I was still undiagnosed in 1976, and when I went home, I was hemorrhaging and I had to go back to the emergency room, and that was, I almost died from that. And I was still went undiagnosed for many, many years. I had joined the military, gone to Germany for 2 years, and when I look back now, I go, oh my God, something could have happened to me.
So all this time, and there's no diagnosis, you simply thought, you know, this is the way it was.
We thought the whole rest of the world was like that. Actually, we all thought everybody else was bleeders.
Talk about some of the home remedies you guys use.
Oh yeah, we used to use tea bags. If you had a gum bleeding or a tooth that came out, we'd pack it with the tea bags. My mother made us drink Jello. You know, after you stir it up and it's warm, she'd make us drink that. We all thought, oh, that was a great home remedy.
Something about the gelatin, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know. So, as years went by, and Shelley's going to talk about, I wasn't really diagnosed until my kids were, and then they got me involved.
Interesting. So how did that happen? How did your diagnosis?
Well, fortunately, my mom was diagnosed, and so when I was born, we knew that I was bruising a lot and bleeding a lot. So I was at my annual comprehensive checkup, and we actually had received in the mail a newsletter from Great Lakes Hemophilia Foundation that talked about summer camp for kids with bleeding disorders. And at the time I was 10 years old, and it was a very terrifying experience because I'd never been on a plane, and the only camps around were in Minnesota, Illinois, and Michigan. So first time on a plane by myself, 10 years old, get over there, don't know anybody, so I don't, you know, these strangers are picking me up at the airport, and I get to camp and step out of the van, and I'm just this little wisp of a girl, and everyone's like, hey, welcome to Camp Bald Eagle, it's great to have you, and got to meet a lot of kids with bleeding disorders who actually had it a lot worse off than I did. So I learned a lot that summer about von Willebrand disease, about how to treat myself, eventually learned how to self-infuse, and it was honestly the best summer of my life. And so I continued to go to camp long after that summer. And when I came back, my mom had a little bit of a different perspective on things. You want to talk about that more?
Yeah, here I was worried. Oh my God, I put my 10-year-old on a plane. I don't hear from her for the whole week.
Every parent
no
does that.
letters, no phones, anything. They had one phone at camp, and that was for emergencies only. So I get her off the plane, and she's this chatterbox. She's so excited, and this kind of gets to my heart here. She said, hurry up and go home so I can wash my clothes and go to camp next year.
So what's the difference what's the difference between before and after?
Well, I mean, we started to get more involved because I went to camp. It really was life-changing for me because I thought, my goodness, like, I want to come back to camp every year. And eventually I was able to become a counselor and sort of give that back. And so I wanted to do it more outside of camp too. So learning so much about von Willebrand disease, I came back and taught Mom about stuff, and we both started getting involved in Great Lakes Hemophilia Foundation.
So what did camp help you do that you weren't able to do before?
Self-infused was a big one.
But what impact does that have on your life?
Oh, huge freedom. Mom, talk about some of the stuff that we can do now.
Well, I didn't travel far from Milwaukee in case they had to run back to emergency. My sister lived 90 miles away. I didn't want to go visit. I would never go to visit during a winter, because if I had to come home in the snow, forget it. So we only went up there during the summers to visit, and we kept, I mean, the emergency room was our lifeline.
So
That was it. You know,
It's
we
remarkable.
didn't travel. We didn't travel at all until we got this freedom of, learning how to self-infuse. You travel. I mean, Great Lakes sponsored me to go to my first national convention in San Diego, and that was, I learned all the educational classes I went to. I learned there was a whole community out there. It was just great.
So there's a real educational component to what GLHF has helped you with,
Absolutely.
and what do you get from that now?
Well, let's
Adults
talk about some
living
of the things
success.
we've done for Great Lakes, and we're really thankful for everything they've done for us. I mean, we got involved in not only going to camp, and thank you for sending both my girls to camp. We got into the advocacy, going to Madison. Shelley went to Washington, and we would help out with poinsettias, starting plants and all the different things that Great Lakes offered. We volunteered to work at the galas that they had every year, just to kind of give back for what they've given us.
Excellent. And as you move forward, obviously, mother, daughter, there will be more of you, hopefully more generations to come. As you look ahead, what do you see as the landscape in front of you? Given your involvement, given the advocacy that you're involved in, what's that landscape like?
Well, education is the key. Knowing, and that strength of knowing, I mean, I have some relatives that are in denial that they're bleeders, and Shelley and I, we kind of laugh about that sometimes, like, you're hurting yourself, or something important could happen to you, and you're not educated. I mean, being ahead of the curve, being proactive for any bleeds you would have, I mean, that's empowerment, so.
Yeah, I think our hope would be for anyone to, who's just newly diagnosed, to learn about their disorder and just really be able to know that there's a community out there who's supportive and that there's treatment, so that no one goes undiagnosed or untreated in this day and age.
Absolutely. And the ultimate would be a cure. Absolutely.
Thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Appreciate